So, hey everybody, this is Christy with the Garden Tower again. I am just trying to get it set up here. A friend of mine loaned me this tablet so I could hopefully see what you guys are commenting on, but I'm not sure it's going to work in this setup. So, I might just lay it down and look at it occasionally if that works. We are getting started today to show you guys about planting a tower and a few little tips and tricks. So just as a quick reminder, you know, we're giving away 10 garden towers this spring with a bunch of other goodies with those. So if you haven't already taken a look, you should test out, or look at, not test, sorry, look at our Facebook page to see where you can sign up for the giveaway. So we've done a couple live events so far, and the seedlings that you guys have been seeing from me, if I say too many times, my speech and debate teacher is going to shoot me. You guys have seen while I've been going through all of these videos. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm planting, why I'm planting where, the things I do, and we'll see how that all turns out for you guys. And if you have questions, I will do my best to be able to answer them. But it does not look like I'm going to be able to do it on this tablet as I had thought I might be able to. So give me just a second so I can double check that this is going live. I think it is. It looks like it, but I'm not getting comments. So here's what we're doing today. We have a couple tomatoes that you guys have seen, so I'm going to talk about those and planting those. The way I plant, as well as plans for where to put stuff in your tower. So right up top, we have 2 tomato plants, if you guys can see these okay. It's best to put the tallest tomatoes or the tallest plants on the top if you can, as well as things like I'm going to plant some seeds today of beans. They're going to get tall, but as well as carrots, if you guys can see that. Carrots and beets and stuff like that are good to plant in the top or the second row because it's really easy if you need to pull them out, either to pull straight from the top or dig down just one row. So I usually, any root vegetables like that, I plant at the top. And then we'll talk about the rest of this. So all I do easily to plant, this is a bison tomato. It is a determinate tomato, I believe, which means it's not going to get 6 or 7 or 8 feet high. I had one time in the top of my tower that hit the gutters, and as you can see, I'm not real tall, so that was really hard for me to deal with. But we're using for these botanical interest cardboard planters. Those are part of the giveaway as well, but they're pretty easy for plants that don't like to be disturbed, other roots that don't like to be disturbed. So you just pull off the bottom of those cardboard, and you can see we have a bunch of little roots in there. And then we're going to just dig a slight hole. For tomatoes, we're going to plant them pretty deep because any amount of the stem that you put around or any amount of the dirt that you put around the stem or bury the stem is going to create roots. So that's, obviously super simple. So I put a few things here to help me get started. This is a nasturtium. Nasturtiums are great to plant with your tower. They provide a lot of benefits for bees. All of the leaves are edible and the flowers are edible. They also trellis a lot of them. And so it makes your tower look really nice. So it's super easy, obviously, to plant in the top, but let's talk a little bit about planting in the pockets. So when you want to plant in a pocket, hopefully everybody can see this because I can't see what you're seeing right now. You just pull a little dirt back, if you guys can see that. And because these are plantable, I'm just going to push the whole thing in there and then push all of the dirt back over it. Now we're in a greenhouse right now. It's too cold outside to be able to start some of the stuff outside. But what this will do eventually is trellis down. And so when it trellises down, it's going to have big leaves. So then you wonder, well, what, if they have big leaves, it's going to shade stuff below it. So you have to think about how you're planting stuff for the shade cover. And sorry if you just heard that, but there's helicopters flying over right now. So what I'm going to show you, let's pick this one. So if you guys can see this, this is my tray of lettuces that I've started. All of these can go into the tower today. They're totally fine, and we'll deal with a little bit of the cold weather. So I take a knife, like you guys saw me separating stuff before, and I gently lift these out. Oh, I picked one that had 2 in it. Bonus. So we have 2. These are red oak lettuces. So we'll separate those. And the easiest way to do these, and also look nice, I mean, if you care about your tower looking like pretty, but if you plant them in a diagonal. So I'm going to put this little one in here very gently because these are very small plants. Oh, I forgot to say Happy Easter to everybody. Happy Easter, happy Sunday. So we're going to plant that one there. And then we're going to plant this one, just make a little hole. Tap the dirt around it. And then that's good. So what I would normally do then is look at how many lettuce plants or how many chard plants or how many spinach plants that I want. And you should pick what you're going to plant, especially if this is your first time of planting a tower. Pick what you're going to use and what your family likes to eat the most. Don't get too exotic because then you're just not going to enjoy it as much. You're not going to see the benefits immediately. And then as you get familiar with how the tower works and what works for you, then you can add in some interesting things. So one of the interesting things, though, for some of our followers is very standard, is here's another tray of plants that I've started, if everybody can see that. One of the interesting things is kohlrabi. So this right here, these 2 rows because I like kohlrabi. Kohlrabi is a great, it's not really a root vegetable. I mean, it grows above ground, but it's a bulb. And it does really well in the tower. And has a nice spicy flavor to it. So if I think about these lettuces and how big these lettuces will potentially get over the next 40 to 50 days, pardon the dogs barking in the background, then kohlrabi also gets pretty large leaves, but the kohlrabi will be bigger than these leaves of the red oak leaf. So I'm just going to take a couple kohlrabi plants here. Once again, this is a little bit of a messy process. And so here's a nice good kohlrabi plant like we talked about before. These are the first leaves, and then this is the true leaf. So I'm going to plant this diagonal from my lettuce. And I think because I love these so much, I'm going to plant a couple more. This one's really nice. Look at all of the roots on that one. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. That one's beautiful to me. So I am going to plant that one here. super easy. You just make a little space, put it in, and gently press your starts down. So one of the other things, let me move this. Thanks you to my friend who let me use their tablet, but it didn't work out. One of the other things that people have a lot of questions about as you start planting is what we've kind of talked about already, which is the shading. But also, what do you put in the bottom 2 layers? So if you think about it, if you water your tower, obviously gravity pulls a lot of the water down. And depending if you're in an indoor or outdoor situation, the top might get drier because if it's outdoor, the sun is hitting it. And the bottom usually, on average, stays a little wetter. So you want to put things on the bottom that are more moisture-loving plants. And those are usually things like squashes, cucumbers, trellising plants. And so what I've started here, oh, where'd my knife go? There it is, are some Space Saver cucumbers. These are a container variety of cucumber. And they also work really well if you want to make pickles, which I do. So I'm going to take one of these, and you might not be able to see it in the full planting, or the full video screen. But look at those roots. Oh, I got a lettuce with it. I must have overplanted across it. So we'll save that. Oh my gosh, this smells wonderful if you could smell it. So we're going to separate these 3, and then I'm going to put them in 3 pockets on the bottom row. So when they trellis out, they go down to the ground. It's amazing how these little seedlings smell so much like the fresh plant. It's great. So just a second, if I go out of view, I'm going to put these in the bottom pocket. So it's not boring for you guys, in case you can't see it. I'm going to separate them by 1 pocket each, because they're going to get bushy, and if I put them all right next to each other, they might all compete for nutrients and light. So if you have squashes that are trellising kind of things, you want to give them space. And because they're trellising and going out from the bottom, then in between those, I don't think it's in this. No, it's not in the, oh yes it is. Then in between those, if you do plants that are bigger, fuller, compact in that area, once the trellising things go out and about, they're getting all of their light already. So the cabbages and the broccolis and the cauliflowers are really good to put in there. So I have here, let's see, I'm a fan of purple cabbage, personally. So this is purple cabbage. Got my little marker here. I'm going to find one that looks, oh, this one looks good. I'm going to put a purple cabbage in between those trellising plants, because it's going to grow up and those trellising plants are going to go down. And you can see that looks really good. So move this around, stick my purple cabbage in there, pat it in. And I'm sorry guys if you're commenting and I can't see it. I was trying very hard to figure out a way to do this, but I'm not a super technical person, so I'm trying. So that takes care of, you know, lettuces and how to do some of the cabbages. This tray is all chard or kale, and I just have one thing of tatsoi in here. So, you know, it's only, I put the dates on this. This is only, you know, like a month or so old. So these might be a little small to be adding to the tower right now, but because we have it in a greenhouse and it's a little more protected, I'm able to do it easily. So I'm just going to grab, which which one? Which one looks best? This dwarf kale is looking really good. And so I'm going to take a kale plant out of here. Oh, the roots are already really deep. I might have broken them. No, I didn't. Okay, so if you can see, then I'm going to take the kale and put here. And then I'm going to take another kale. This one's really nice too. If you're doing individual pots, it's really easy for you to just be able to dump the pot over and squeeze the end and get your, or if you only have one plant in it. These are larger seeding trays. So I'm going to put this at an angle. And then I will continue the kale down the side. I'm not going to bore you guys with me putting a bunch of plants, little plants in the tower. Move this. Oh no, I knocked over a tomato. So, these little ends that come off of these cardboard things, you can just put those straight into the compost tube. The worms will like that. It adds some browns for you. The other thing that I wanted to mention while we're doing this, and I can switch over again. I'll try to take it off of... we got a tripod. I got fancy this time. I got a tripod. So you can see me while I'm doing it. So the other thing to do is to mark all of these when you put them in. I know what they are right now, so I'm not going to go through that. But if you get, the white plant stakes and a little China marker or a crayon or something, and just mark it so that you can, make sure you know. Because kale looks very similar, for instance. You can put in 5 types of kale and they all look the same until they're getting bigger. So once they get bigger, it's easy, but before that it's a little difficult. So the other thing I'm going to plant here on the top are sugar peas, which do great in the tower. So I'm going to put, oh, that's way too many, but I'm just going to put a couple in here, and then if they make it, great, and I'll thin them all out, and if they don't, then I'll replant them. But peas come up very quickly, very, very quickly. So I put 4 in there. Beans also sprout very quickly, so I don't usually put those in starter trays to get them going. So the variety of beans that I'm putting in right now are Roma beans. You can kind of see those seeds. They are those big, wide, flat green beans that I know some people don't like, but I happen to really like them versus standard green beans. So I'm going to put a few of those in. The Roma beans, actually, if you are somebody who cans or likes canning, or wants to learn, we might do something on that. I can a lot. They're really good for canning. They hold up very, very well to the pressure and the heat that's necessary for safely canning your vegetables and sauces. Then I'm going to put in these beets. So these were bought from a local grower. These are long, straight beets versus the big, fat beets. And so because they're long, straight beets, I'm able to, I shouldn't say straight necessarily, but more cylindrical versus wide. You're able to put those in the pockets because you want to look at what is the size of what you're going to pull out of the pocket if it's a root vegetable. So, if you plant a beet in here that's going to be a 3-pound beet, which would be pretty amazing, but it's not going to fit through this pocket. You're going to have to dig down through the top of the dirt and get the beet and pull it out that way. So what I decided to do this year was to put some beets in that I would be able to pull straight out of the pocket. So I'm going to do that now. And it's super easy, and we might have to thin them. I'm going to give them a little bit more space. I haven't planned this whole tower out yet. I'm just working off of the things I can plant right now. So we're going to put 1, 2, 3 seeds in there. I'll probably have to thin those or move a couple to another pocket. I'll move those off. And then, oh, I didn't plant my other tomato. So I have the bison tomato over here, which, once again, I believe is a determinate, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll find out together over these Facebook Live events. This one is specifically a patio tomato, so it's meant to only get a few feet high and stay bushy. So I'm going to pull that cardboard off again and create a little pocket here and plant it as deep as I can up to these first leaves. There we go. I'll put my little stake there so I know what it is. And then in this area at the top, I'm going to add carrots. So I bought from, once again, another local group, what are supposed to be purple carrots. We'll see. But I've had purple carrots before, and I don't know. People say a carrot's a carrot, but I really like purple carrots if it's just maybe even the color. So I'm going to plant, or not plant, but start a few seeds right here. I probably am going to have to thin these, but we'll do those. And then if you're concerned about how well or how big your carrots will grow, like in our container gardening seed kit that we just started offering, there are basically baby fingerling carrots, not tomatoes or potatoes, carrots. These are considered half long, so they don't get quite as big. But our container seed kit, actually I put together myself. So it's all things that I've grown personally over the years in a tower that have worked. So we're going to put just a few of those right here. Oh, I got too many. I'm going to put some back in the package. So once you have everything that you're going to put in for your starts done, and obviously we're not done. I'll probably do a few more videos on things to put in as I can do it in the zone we're in, which is like zone 5B or 6A. I don't know. They recently changed it. So I just go by my own weather guide in the meantime. So after you put all of these in, you should still water very well. So watering, I got this watering cap. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's got a lot of spouts, little holes in it. It's pretty important for when you're watering your tower to make sure that you're not just doing a direct, hose watering so it creates divots in the ground or in the dirt. It's best to make sure that it's more kind of like a spring shower, right? Like that. So we're going to water these in really well. And as long as you're keeping your tower, well watered, you shouldn't have to give them a lot just to help them get started because you're transplanting them. So I'm going to water these pockets real quick. Oh, got my cucumber down here. Get that one. Okay. Oh, I forgot one that I was going to tell you guys about. So this is another little radish. Radishes obviously normally are a root vegetable that you pull out. These are called rat's tail radishes. And I'm not sure how I can get you guys to be able to see this. These are from Baker's Creek, but the part above the ground is actually the radish. So it's a really nice radish for the tower because you don't have to dig it out. And I grew these 2 years in a row, and they're really nice, sweet. I mean, obviously a little bit spicy radish flavor. But I'm going to put a couple of those in here because they did so well. And I love the taste of them. And they're pretty. If you let them go to seed a little bit or let them start flowering, the flowers are gorgeous. You can't see it on here, but the bees and everything were just all over it. They loved it. So I'll put a few of those in and water that real quick. So to kind of recap, once again, I'm sorry I'm not able to look at your comments or questions live since my phone's on a tripod. But you want to put your tallest stuff in the top. So tomatoes, peppers, beans, peas, like I did. Though you can put most of that in these first 1 or 2 rows. You're just going to have to trellis them up a little bit better, which we will show as we keep going along. And then you want to think about things like your kales and broccolis and lettuces, how big they're going to get. So if I put a broccoli right here, and if any of you have seen broccoli growing, or cauliflower for that matter, it gets big, big, big leaves. So if you put a broccoli right here, and it grows big leaves out, you don't want a broccoli here because it's going to shade that broccoli, or vice versa. So it's better to put things that are going to be big and wide, that are going to shade to the side or below, farther down, or make sure that what you plant around them are things that are going to grow tall above and beyond the broccoli or the cauliflowers, so they can get to the sun as well. So that is our initial planting. We will keep updating you guys as we keep going along, and I'll show you how all of these are doing. We're getting a cold snap in the next couple days, so I'm hoping these all make it. Our greenhouse is not heated, but hopefully there'll be enough sun to keep it going. Oh, we'll cover that one up a little bit. There we go. So if you have any questions, post them on this video in the comments, and we'll do our best to respond to them. Sorry if I'm all squinty. It's actually brighter than I thought it was out here. And I hope everybody's having a great holiday and a great Sunday. And we look forward to doing another live event with everybody soon. Thanks for all your support, everybody. Love you.